Hello everyone and welcome to Video Diary. Well, should I call this Video Diary? Development Diary? Maybe? Something along those lines. Some sort of diary, like just to track my progress and show you what's going on and stuff, and little updates and things like that. So, I haven't done one of these in a while. In fact, my first one was like a month ago, maybe. Quite some time ago. Whoops. But basically, this is my MacBook. And what I'm going to show you is, well, I'm going to tell you that I've handed in my proposal. I handed it in a while ago, and the proposal is what I'm doing for my final project. And I will release that for you guys. Well, will release it as a PDF when I've got my feedback. It's like at the moment they're marking it, they're grading it, and they're making sure none of it's been plagiarized and things like that. So if I release it now, whilst it's being marked, they might find it and say, "Hey, hang on a minute," it might cause complications. I don't really want to risk that or do anything like that. So I'll release that as a PDF after I've got my grades back and it's been marked and everything like that. So you can take a look at what I'm doing, but it's going to be PDF, so you can't copy. Well, you probably can, but you can't literally just drag, copy, paste, stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly show you where am I going. You can see I'm recording with iShowU HD. So I'm going to show you this is my uni folder for stage 3, basically third year. These are all my modules. I'm taking that this term, that this term, and that is over all 3 terms. Well, 2 terms, 3 or 2, something like that. So it's over the whole year, basically, the final project. And that is mainly what this development diary is about. I'll be doing more videos on mastering later. Like, I've got some notes and things like that in there. But at the moment, I'm just going to show you the final project. I've been sending letters to EA. Yes, that's the point. For my final project, I'm trying to get some first-hand maybe, research done, basically by going into professional game development places and doing interviews. And I've sent letters to EA. I've sent a letter to Lionhead Studios. It's almost the same letter, it's just changed slightly. I've sent emails to many others, Activision. Who else is there? I need to ring up Edios. I've sent emails to Sony. I've sent emails to Splash Damage. I've sent emails to quite a few. I even went to Bungie to do a internet interview of sorts, but haven't had any replies. So I'll be calling up people very soon, asking for follow up and things like that. So I also applied for an open day at Blitz Game Studios in Leamington Spa, and this is the email they sent me back. So I'll be doing some of this later. Like, I'll be doing a composition video. Like, I need to do either sound design or music design, and I'm gonna choose music design just because I don't know. Yeah, I just want to. So I'm going to be doing some music design for them, and I'll be documentating that later on, probably within the week or next weekend. I'll be doing that. So they just want me to make some adaptive audio, which is fun. So where was I? Yes, I wanted to show you my... Let's see, what's that? Yes, this is my schedule. Let's open it with Merlin. This is a great program, Merlin. It makes it's a Gantt chart, like it's a project management tool. Oh, excuse me. You can see I'm in the demo mode, but I use this to track out what I'm going to do. So I have 3 main areas. Okay, I've got research, practical, and written, and of course the hand in is all the way over there in April, at the end of April, and then I have a presentation after that somewhere, but don't need to apply for that. But don't need to. What did I say? Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't need to worry about that at the moment. But I've got 3 fields. I've got my research field, I've got my practical field, and I've got my written field. The written field is everything I'm gonna hand in, all the documentation, all the writing about this and writing about the subject. It's basically the dissertation I'm gonna hand in. It's gonna be many words, 10,000, 20,000. Somewhere between that mark, maybe. I don't know, but let's start with the research because I've got a lot to get done. And technology history research. This is like from the really old days, from the first video game invented, which was something like done on an I can't pronounce the word, oscilloscope. With loads of circuitry, and it weighed like massive amounts of. it was just like a huge, big rack, just for a tiny game on an oscilloscope. It's amazing. But I'll be doing technology history. And the development of the consoles over time and PCs over time, and how it all came to be up to the modern day, And I'll be kind of looking at a bit of the future consoles as well in this area, but that's the research. And then sound design research is basically how to make sounds, making sounds, developing sounds, how I would go about doing that, different techniques. There's Foley, there's synthesis, the two main techniques I'm going to be using, and a combination of both. I'll be using some vocoder on some voices and things later on, so that'll be funny. Game audio. This is going into research about the specifications of the audio, what it needs to be, what format, it's basically, because what I've been reading, basically the format is supplied to you by your developer, and then you have to kind of convert it all to that. But in the chain, it has to be converted somewhere, because mostly it's going to be done at a very high 24-bit, at least 48 kilohertz sampling, right? That's the minimum. And later on down the chain, you're going to convert it down to whatever they want to make it fit. Sometimes they don't, let you keep all the audio content and, the quality you want in it. Actually, a lot of the time, because graphics are the most important thing in the video games according to the developer. So the first thing they will sacrifice in order to make everything fit is the game audio. And they can do that by downsampling or changing the bit depth or just changing the compression. And like sometimes it'll go from 44.1 to 22, and it's just like, why? 22 kilohertz is just awful. But 44.1 is a standard CD sampling rate, Redbook standard. Game architecture, this is the thing I hate the most, right? Game architecture is basically the code and how the audio fits within the code, and I've got a period of 2 months doing that, and that's going to be done in parallel with API research, which is application programming interface, which is a graphical user interface such as Fmod, WYs, Exact, what else were there, SFML or something like that. They're just going into the audio APIs. Like, I'll be looking at the Unreal Engine slightly as well, because that's kind of got one in. Then of course there's my primary research, which is interviews and things like that. So that's all what I've got to do research based. Let's extend my practical. So you can see I've got quite a lot to do in practical, and there is a lot to do. So in order, practical composition. I'm supposed to have started it already, but I've got I've got until the end of this year basically to get all the composition done and all the musical writing, and I'll be doing that very soon, and I'll be documentating all of that. So I've got to do all the composition before December, and then when January comes around, I've got my live recordings and my sound effect design. Now, live recordings and sound effect design, live recordings will be done for both the composition and the sound effects, because I'll be doing Foley, and in the composition there's going to be a lot of things that can be, recorded live, and I don't want to use MIDI, so I'll be recording guitars, bit of drums, percussion, and a string quartet, things like that. And I've got a month to do that, which is fine. It leaves me ample time to find session musicians for the instruments I cannot play. Like, I can play drums fine, I can play guitar fine, I can play bass fine, I can play some keyboards fine as well, depending what it is. But things like violins and stuff, I cannot play, so I'll be kind of finding session musicians for that. And sound effect design, that's just fun, it's just designing the sounds. It shouldn't take too long. Next, mixing content. Okay, you can see all of this is going to be mixed, going to be made into submixes and pre-mastered. Pre-mastered is the digital pre-mastering stage where you do more effects. Physical mastering, actual mastering is the physical master to disc, and I'm not doing that just yet. That's down here somewhere. See, master, OST CD. That's the physical actual product. But carrying on, I'm using Fmod as my primary API here. So all the research into APIs is mainly going to be done into Fmod and Fmod Sandbox. So you can probably tell what these are. This is where I make the audio adaptive, and where I import literally all the audio content. It goes into Fmod Designer, and then in sequence it goes into Fmod Sandbox. So let's just close those for a second. And finally, I've got to master the the CD, the OST, because I'm making adaptive audio, but I'm making the OST soundtrack as well. So that makes it more fun. I've got to make my data disk for all the sounds, and just put the Fmod Designer files and all the files on, and then check data, of course, which is fine. So that's a lot of practical stuff to do, to be honest. And let's just finish off going into my written. These are all the sections that I've pretty much mapped out that I'm going to write about. Don't worry about these. These are just me going back in time, which is odd. But yeah, introduction, easy. What is sound design, easy. What is game audio, easy. Primary research input, interviews, things like that. That's all when I'm going to write about them. Practical work input is where I write about everything I do here and explain it and give my reasoning. And then you've got conclusion, proofreading, and corrections. And, that's going to take a long time. I really should have started my introduction already. It's the 20th of November, so I should start that on Monday. So that is basically my project. Hand in over here. Da-da. So that is basically everything I have to do. I've printed this off nice and neatly, and it's a fuckload of stuff to do. Literally, it's like a clusterfuck of work. But this is what you've got to do. If you're a professional, you don't have to do the research. Well, you're going to have to do some research, but you don't have to do as much because I'm starting from scratch here. Like, I don't really know that much about it. So, in a professional standpoint, you've got practical, and that's it. You just deliver the practical element to your boss, so to speak. So this is what a actual professional would typically be doing when working with Fmod. But for research and written, that is for academic purposes. Well, actually, Fmod Sandbox is for academic purposes as well. Usually that's down to the audio programmer, but I'm going to be filling in that role slightly. So that is my final project. I'm going to close this. Can I preview that? Yeah. This is just a front page. A project proposal for video game audio, an investigation into sound design within video games. So that is my proposal. The title may change. Like, I may figure the title's not quite suitable for what I'm doing, but I'll find that later on. I'll just quickly just a scroll down. It's not long. It's 1,000 words, and that is basically it. So for now, I will end it here, just so you know what I've got to do and what I've been doing. And I shall see you again soon with a composition development diary, I guess, or a comparison into game audio. We'll see, whichever one comes out first. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Everybody. I shall see you again soon with the next development diary. Goodbye.